sidetrack, guys. Sorry. I was watching some coverage on the Kyle Rittenhouse trial and got zoned in and totally spaced. I know Gigi's here. Hey, Angela. Hi, Angela with Brittany. Welcome. How is everyone this evening? I should have pulled this mess up. Is what I should have done. Hope y'all are having a good evening. It got rainy and cold here in Texas, and I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Thought it was going to be warm today because I didn't pay attention to the weather. I looked at something else, I guess, because I thought it was going to be the 70s. No, it was 63. And I know you northerners are going, that's not cold. Well, yes, it is. Says a girl who's moving up north. I think it's the wet, Angela. I think it's this wet crap that makes it colder. I don't know. And so, has anybody paid any attention to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial at all? I meant to watch it. I had a friend ask me if I was going to cover it. Here in North Carolina all week. 50 is free. Yes, allegedly, but y'all are the same as us. We're used to this like 80s and 90s. This 60s is a cold front. And my husband and I have been comparing. He's in Indiana right now, and I'm here. And so we compare every morning when I'm going, oh, my God, it's cold. And he's like, babe, shut up. And it's like 30, or it was like 18 the other day when he got up. Your dad's keeping you. Well, I meant to watch it and totally spaced until I saw a friend's comment on Facebook. And now she's saying it's going pretty good. But this coverage that I was just watching on YouTube, he's saying, he's foobarred. So I guess I need to watch some of it and see. Evidently, the defense is being really stupid. And something I caught today from Jason Flom, who does the Wrongful Conviction podcast. And he actually, I don't remember what his foundation is, but he works with wrongfully convicted people. He was saying today, our justice system was set up to protect the justice system and not the people. And that's where the problem is. And I think that's what we're going to have here. I think that's what's been the issue in many cases. It is scary. It is concerning. I have my own opinions on that case, and I'll hold them. They may offend people. They may not. I don't know. I'll have to think about covering it. I kind of want to cover it, but I don't know. And I don't know what's up with my face looking all pale, but I don't think I look that pale. I might turn that light off. Jesus. Oh, Lord. I'm out of it, guys. I apologize. I usually am a little more focused. I don't know if I need to keep that handy or not. So, the case of Kendrick Lee, which I discussed last week, there's been a few things come up. Hi, Nikki. Welcome. There's been a few things that have come to light in the last, 4 or 5 days, over the weekend, I guess, on the case. And I figured I would talk about them again tonight. I am going to be over on Name Foods, Charlotte's channel tomorrow. Charlotte on the web. Isn't that right, Nikki? I'm horrible with names a lot of times. And so her and I are going to be talking about the case some. And who knows, I might share some of my, she does a lot of Katie Joy stuff. So I may share some of my Katie Joy experience. Who knows? And yes, y'all, it is a wine kind of night. Angela, can you drop Charlotte's link for me, please, ma'am? Or do I need to get it? Do you have it? If you don't have it, I can get it real quick. Oh, Lord. Y'all, does that mean I've come up in the world when I get trolls in the chat? If I'm getting trolls, does that mean something? Oh, we're not doing no Hitler stuff. Get out. See, I haven't had any trolls. So yay. Thank you for coming and watching and giving me a view. I appreciate it. Jesus. Well, let's see what they come up with next. There'll be another one. But next week, I'll be covering something different on Wednesday. I'm in between two cases. I don't know which one I want to go with first. Both are in the courts, and so both are interesting. Both people are talking about, well, one people are talking about more than the other. Please, no Hitler stuff. You're a conservative, and you do not need that kind of energy. Lord, we don't need people telling others that I support Hitler. Good Lord, don't even. Not funny. None of us need that kind of energy. I just haven't decided which one yet. I kind of want to talk about the Arbery trial. I don't see many people talking about it, and it's had some interesting stuff go on. I don't know. I have to think about it. See what kind of time I have. Oh, and there's a cat. Jasper doesn't usually get screen time. Usually it's Jagger, but I guess Jasper wants to get in there. What are you doing? Lord. So last week we talked about Kendrick Lee, and Kendrick is the 8-year-old boy in Houston that was murdered and left in his apartment with his 3 siblings while his mama and her boyfriend skedoodled on wherever it was they were doing. So we had been told that one dad was in prison and one was dead. And then it was one dad was dead and one was just not involved. So some of what has come out, and let me grab this because I don't want to get the names wrong because it's very convoluted. This young woman, there's definitely something going on with Gloria. The mother is Gloria Williams. She is 35. There's definitely something off. She's never been diagnosed with anything. Hold on, it's the husband. Hey, babe, I'm live. Okay, you staying? Where you at tonight? Oh, lovely. Okay, I'll call you back in a little bit. Love you. Husband is traveling and he is having a hell of a time. It's such an awful case. These children fell through so many cracks, it's just not even funny. But I'm anxious to see when they put her through a psych eval where she's falling, because something's not right. I mean, is she just narcissistic or is she truly mentally ill? Because this isn't normal mother behavior. None. And now she did get an attorney this week. They took a long time finding one that could take her case. I don't know if they were trying to find somebody qualified or they were drawing straws going, I don't want to be it. But they did get an attorney. He did ask the judge to continue for a continuance so he could kind of get familiar with the case. I would not want to be the lawyer on this case. And I may contact Kirk Narmy and ask him from a defense court-appointed kind of thing, what's going on with this. I may do that. That would be interesting to get his take. But this is an uphill battle. I mean, how do you defend this kind of case? It would have to be an insanity thing. I mean, because she's just, you can't say it's normal or that she's not. So how do you go from there? But I bet the lawyers in the office for the defendant, the court appointed, I bet they were like holding straws to see who pulled the short straw, because nobody wanted to touch. Usually it's who's next, and I bet they were all like, "Please God, no, not me." Tag somebody else's it. I wouldn't want this case. This would be like taking Letitia Stout case. Thank you, Lala. Have a good evening. And so with her, the judge came back today or yesterday, and because she's at like $900,000 bail. I have the numbers on the screen. I'll pull up in a minute. And there's 2 daughters she gave up completely. The oldest one is 17, and she just left. She flat out said, I'm out. Well, technically, hold on, let me back up on this. She didn't leave on her own. She stood up to protect the brothers because Brian was beating them, and the mother threw her out last year. And she is living with the grandmother of one of the other daughter. I don't know how many baby daddies we have. Kendrick, Jordan, and Trayvon all had the same daddy. Javion, which is the youngest one, has a daddy. And then I don't know if the two older girls have the same daddy or different daddies. But the oldest girl is with the 13-year-old daughter's grandmother. She's taken her in. She was reported missing in September, but I guess she's back. When that news came out, I was concerned because I thought, well, what if they've done something to her to hide the information? And so, but we finally, you're dizzy. Sinuses, Lola. I know mine are driving me crazy. Y'all, I can't do this hair down. It's driving me crazy. It's hot. It was cold not 15 minutes ago. Let's see what it's going to do. It's fine. Feel better, honey. I was that way the other day. It's awful. Gotta love us Texans with our sinus and allergy issues. But, and so, I lost my track. So, the daddy with the three boys. Now, Kendrick's, and that's him, and his name is Rodney Lee. He had been involved with them up until just a few years ago. He left her in 2012, went to Louisiana. She stayed in Houston. He came back in 2017. He had the kids every other weekend. They were doing stuff all the time. Excuse me. She came back and tried to talk him into getting with her. And he's like, no, I'm engaged to this lady here. We're getting married. I'm planning a wedding with the boys. She disappeared on him. Oh, she got her booster. Oh, Lala, I'm so sorry. I haven't had a booster yet, but I had my 2. I didn't have any reactions. Hugs, honey. Take you a nap. Get some rest. But she deleted all of her social media or blocked him from social media, blocked him from her cell phone, and just disappeared. And the family has all said she does this often. Hey, dear Terms of Service, thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm loving your video you made me. I sit here and bop to it. I love it. I could just keep playing it and be happy. So when she, when they try to get close to her and try to help, she ghosts them. So they have been trying to find her for a while. And I mean, Houston is big. And so, yeah, I can see how they lose track. I mean, because Houston, I mean, you're talking, God, what is it? Population, 1 million people. I mean, it's huge. And the part of Houston they were in is, I mean, each section of Houston is like its own little city. And then you have your outskirting areas. And so it's not hard to lose somebody and not be able to find them. But you would think with the CPS involved, because they had been involved many times, that it would be easy for daddies to call. Maybe they don't know how, or maybe out of sight, out of mind. I don't know. That's kind of one of those, if you really wanted to be with your kids, you would be. But at the same time, if they're deleting everything, how do you? I don't know. I mean, they were in the system. She had food stamps. She got Medicaid. She had all of this public assistance. That's how the apartment was even paid for. But get this. They killed him in November of 2020. They stayed in the apartment themselves till March of 2021. How do you stay in an apartment with somebody you've murdered? I mean, you would think they would have at least taken him and put him somewhere. The order that they left on the door was just recently when they took the kids on Sunday. last Sunday, last Sunday. That was the notice they left that they were taking the children. And that was because the courts took over. And I will say that Courtney Lee, the dad, has said, I mean, he found out that his son died through the news. Nobody even called him because they thought he was in prison or dead. You know, they didn't know which daddy was which because it's all so crazy. And so he found out through the news, which is horrible. I mean, I just couldn't imagine. But he said that, I mean, he's talked to them on the phone and he is leaving it at that. He is not contacting them anymore because of the amount of therapy that they need and the amount of help that they're going to need. And that this is just one of those things. I think he realizes this is way out of my pay grade and somebody else needs to take care of my children. I mean, I have raised 3 beautiful children who are functioning adults who have lives. And hey, Kristen, welcome. YouTube was crazy about not giving notifications all the time. I don't get mine half the time from Melissa. But I wouldn't be able to help my children through something like this. You know, I know that would be above my pay grade. I mean, I would try, but I would still be bringing in some professional help. He has recognized they need to stay where they're at for right now. Will that change? Well, we'll just have to see. Nikki, I'm the same way. And I do know that the oldest, Jordan, has flat out told the judge, oh, thank you, Brittany. The oldest one, Jordan, has told them those are his babies. You're not taking them from me. So he has stepped in a daddy role, which just warms my heart for this child. I mean, we got to think he's still a child himself. He's 15. I mean, and of course, when you grow up in that kind of situation, you grow up a lot faster. So I am hoping that the courts see that these children are going to need each other. I can't imagine separating them right now, what it would do to them psychologically. It brings tears to my eyes to even think about it. But it is just insane. Now, I have to pull this timeline up. Let me find this timeline. So I'm not going to see chat for a minute because I got to pull this up because I've seen this and I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm reading it and these men overlap each other, guys. And then the death overlaps these men. Nikki, I have cried over this case so many times. It's not even funny. Gigi told me the other night, no tears. Because I lose it. It just is horrible. But let me see. No, this ain't it. I have several of these pulled up. Is this it? Okay, so in 2020, we know that the Alif ISD confirms that in 2019 and 2020, the school district filed truancy papers against Gloria. The district says that the kids were last enrolled in May of 2020. A September 2020 home visit went unanswered. So the boy, Kendrick, was still alive at this time, and they all should have been living there. This was before the murder. Now, of course, this timeline is set before we found out some other things. And it says from November 20th to the 29th, according to Harris County, Coulter beat Lee to death. During this time of their apartment in West Houston, Lee's brother said in testimony to the deputies that Coulter kicked and punched Kendrick repeatedly until he stopped moving and had black eyes, then covered him with a blanket. So we do now know that happened between November 20th and November 23rd, because on November 23rd, Coulter was arrested in Luling, which is 140 miles from Houston. And I will tell you, if you have a tendency to speed or run stop signs, like roll through them, not stop behind the line, and do anything that might make a cop look at you, don't go through Luling. They will stop you every time. Know from experience. But he was arrested and booked into the Caldwell County Jail from November 23rd to November 29th. And that's when he bonded out. And it was, I think, drunk and orderly conduct. And he had, I want to say he had weed and he had a weapon. And so in March of 2021, Gloria and Brian moved out of the apartment, leaving the boys there to fend for themselves. Now, we do know that they also locked the boys in an apartment and the bedroom with the body while they were there. That's where they would contain the boys. In April of 2021, the neighbor called the apartment complex and complained of the smell. On October 24th, the 15-year-old texted his mother, which would be Jordan, texted his mother and threatened to call the authorities, claiming that his brother had been dead for a year in the apartment. And then he did that, and then they responded to the scene, and then here we are. So what is funny, where's the... So let's see. She told investigators one father is deceased and one is no longer in the pictures with his kids. Courtney Lee, the biological father, Kendrick Lee, Jordan and Trayvon. I try to get these, I don't want to get these names mixed up, which Jordan is 15, Trayvon is 10. Those were his kids. They are special needs. 2 of them have autism. We do know that Kendrick had autism. I am wondering if it wasn't Kendrick and which one is it? Trayvon that have autism. And since they seem to be the ones that Brian focused his abuse on, was it that he didn't know how to handle an autistic child in whatever their capacity may be? Could that, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments. Hold on. Hi, TCA. Did I miss anybody? Hi, Amanda. Sorry, y'all, I'm missing chat because I'm going through this timeline. Now, Williams' report, Gloria's report to the police and to the courts of what happened. She witnessed her boyfriend punching Kendrick in November 2020. She tried to stop him. The next day, she said she went back into the room where the meeting took place and found the 8-year-old deceased under a blanket, according to the details revealed in the court documents. And that he told her not to, and she was afraid CPS would take her children. Well, she wasn't being a damn mother to her children anyways. She left them. So in one of these, I should have marked it because the timeline from, and there is going to be a delay in this case because the judge recused himself. And I don't know if that was Brian's judge or her judge. Is this it? Hold on. All of these articles tend to be linked together, and I will spit all that out in a minute.
With direct TV stream, I can get live TV.
Close that. I already read that. Oh, where did I put it? You know what? Oh, this is interesting. So here's the conditions. If she was to get bond, now granted, this woman's not getting bond. They don't have the money. I don't think there's anybody that's going to front her the bond for this. Not with $900,000. In this case, according to the district attorney's office, Neil Davis has been assigned to represent her. And I pray for Neil Davis because this is not a case any lawyer wants. I mean, everybody deserves an attorney. So I'm not saying she doesn't deserve an attorney. Ever going to say that because everybody deserves an attorney. But this is going to be a hard case. The judge believes this bond is insufficient. If it's raised, they'll let us know soon. At the time of her bond, this is what her conditions would conclude. Personal appearing in court, committing no crimes that result in an arrest. No contact with prosecuting witnesses or victims. She shall refrain from going to or within 200 feet of a residence, school, place of employment, or other location where minors or her children attend school or childcare or work. Williams is required to submit drug and alcohol testing. She must remain within Harris County and its contiguous counties, which would be Wells, Chambers. I think there's one more. She must not use, possess, or consume marijuana or any controlled substance or dangerous drug used unless obtained by lawful prescription or used by medical doctor. Williams must not use or possess firearm, observe an initial curfew from 6:01 p.m. until 6 p.m. I bet that's 6:01 a.m. until 6 p.m. 7 days a week. Or 6:01 p.m. to 6 a.m. 7 days a week. Because it just keeps saying p.m. and that doesn't make sense. Defendant must not use, possess, or consume alcohol. Must submit to GPS monitoring. Must stay 500 feet away from any school, park, playground, or Jagger quit. Jagger's trying to get into stuff. Or playground or location where the children regularly gather, have no unsupervised contact with any person under age 17, and have no contact with her co-defendant, Brian Coulter. Get down. Get. See? That's what happens when the cat gets up here. Sorry. That was crazy. And he's still getting into everything. Well, I guess we're going to let him sleep. Y'all are probably looking God knows where. So sorry. That's what happens when Jagger gets free reign. Stop. Hi, Feroz. Am I saying that right? Welcome. I don't think her family will. They are so horrified about what happened. The interviews that they with Jagger, you never know. Like, he's like rocking the light right now. He wants that table. Nikki, we do know that they used, Brian talked about in his Instagram stuff about using drugs. I don't know about her. So we do know that there were drugs involved on his side. Marijuana, maybe. I don't know for sure which drug, but there were substances, and they did drink. And it was Valentine's Day, I think. He had all kinds of jewelry that she went and got him, and she posted about loving him and all of this. But so she divorced or broke up with Courtney Lee in 2012. So 2013 to 2017, he was in Louisiana, come back to Texas, was involved with his kids. In that time, she met another man, and I forgot his name. It was a strange name, but they were married. He passed away supposedly in 2019. Lord, I have those dates confused. I knew I should have printed that. It's probably on my phone. But the youngest child was not his. The youngest child, the grandmother that they did that first interview with, and I don't have her name. I don't know that they've given her name. That was her grandchild. Now, that dad is not involved. He's out of the picture, and and the grandmother said she's not even sure where he's at, but she had a relationship with, oh Lord, how do you say that name? Javion? If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. It's J-A'_Deon, Javion. She had a relationship with him up to about a year ago. And she said he became very distant and withdrawn. And she knew he was neglected, and she really should have pushed to get him, but she didn't. And now she regrets that. He's fixing to do it again. Get down. Jagger wants his own show. So, I bet that grandmother's kicking herself. I mean, hopefully, we'll see who. There's several of them now saying they want all the kids. The grandmother that has the two daughters, she wants the boys. The other grandmother wants the boys. I hope that those grandmothers come together for those boys, because that's going to be the important part. working together. Yeah, Nikki, when you come watch, you'll see usually Jagger gets up here and he's like right here behind me, butting me, and he wants his own show. Angel Jagger's her spirit animal. He when he purrs, it chirps like a bird. He's a mess. He is not a normal cat. I call him Garfield. He is not normal by any means. When he cats, it's like for 10 seconds and then he's out. he's a mess. Well, I have 4. I would say I would give you 1, but they're all attached. 2 of them are bottle babies, so they would never leave me. That's what my husband says. He's like, those are with you till death because they're attached. And they all come by name. It's hilarious. But so we do know now that there is one dad out here and about. The other dad is there somewhere, but we just don't know where he is. But I think that's where the confusion came in, is everybody kept saying one dad was dead. The one husband is dead, but he wasn't the father of the children. He was a husband. So she was married to this man. He dies in 2020, but she's dating Brian Coulter for a couple of years. So she was married to this man, but dating this man. So where that man was in all of this, I don't know. And she contacted Courtney Lee, Kendrick's dad, contacted his wife in December of 2020, a month after Kendrick was murdered. Well, a couple weeks after, in that time frame, and said their husband had died. And so she was like, oh my God, is everything okay? Do you need anything? And she immediately blocked her on everything. So she thought maybe she needed help with the kids because the husband had died or whatever. Well, she wasn't even with the man. She was with Brian. So what the hell? Well, then in December, depending on what part of December that phone call happened, Brian had just gotten out of jail. So the men in this case overlap each other. The children all have different daddies. Nobody is involved. There's one woman that did an interview at the Candlelight Vigil. I saw on Twitter a bobcat was purring, and I wanted him. Bobcats have the coolest purrs. Taz, are you into everything tonight? And they're into everything. I don't know what's up with them. They're into everything. And see there, lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that, guys? Oh, the woman at the vigil had known the family for 40 years. And they had been looking for her because they knew something was up, because everything had changed about her. It had been getting worse and worse from what I was gathering. And she was all over the place, and she would show up and they would sleep on the floor and she wouldn't be good. And then she'd take off. And so they tried. I mean, and to the best of their ability, from what I'm seeing, they tried. I wish somebody would have called CPS. Being that there was already a case in CPS, they had been involved with CPS. There wasn't anything active, but it was something current where they had been dealing. This is why don't turn a blind eye. I know people get mad because people call CPS on them, but sometimes this is just warranted, and it's better safe than sorry. Had people been contacting CPS when they saw these children hungry, we wouldn't be here right now. If the school system would have called CPS because the kids weren't in school in September, we wouldn't be here right now. The kids fell through the cracks, and it's not okay. How many more children had to fall through the cracks? There was another one I just shared today with the girls. And I haven't finished reading on it because I had too much going on. But the grandmother called on the mom and the husband. They beat the child or something. I didn't finish reading it. Well, they were having sex while he was dying in Houston. And yeah, I see all these cases because I'm local, but still, it's everywhere. I mind that they live like that for a year with a dead body sibling. It just doesn't compute. I cannot fathom that as an adult. As a 48-year-old woman, look, I gave my age. I had to think about that a minute ago. I want to say my age. I can't fathom being locked in a house or a room with a dead person for any amount of time. No food. She was having food delivered once a month. We'll give her that clap. That's all she gets. Once a month, she delivered food for 3 kids. The smell, Feroz, you would wonder, because why didn't the apartment check? Because people complained about the smell and the apartment didn't do anything. The apartment was scheduled to inspect the apartment because apartments, I don't know about anywhere else in Texas, most of the time they have a yearly check in the apartments. And I've read in a report, they didn't check. They didn't do their yearly inspection. There was a water leak that went into the downstairs apartment. They didn't go check. They didn't go up there to see what happened. It makes no sense. The apartment failed. The school failed. CPS failed. I think neighbors were calling the best that they could, but I think they should have done more. And they had, and I'm going to contact them, but they had a group out there for the Candlelight Vigil and he was talking to the kids about seeking help. And if you see another child suffering, go to somebody. And he was really pushing this because in that community, they've had a lot of issues. There was a child that fell out of a 3rd-story apartment building window. There was a woman raped over in one of the other sections. I mean, they've had nonstop issues and nobody's doing anything. Something has to happen. I mean, this case is mind-boggling. It makes no sense. But now you have to look at, she's got child endangerment, she's got child abandonment, she's got all of these things that they're filing against her. But wait till the state decides to come after her for collecting benefits. It's odd. I'm wondering if they were hiding their own crap, some illegal crap. Man, could be. I mean, right now, the sheriff's department is saying they're not going to go after the apartment building for anything. I think somebody needs to be held accountable. Maybe a civil lawsuit. Because somebody should have done something. I mean, they wouldn't have been able to save Kendrick. He was already gone. But they could have saved the other 3 from some of the torment that they went through. Because little Javon, no. Was it Javon? No. Trayvon had a broke jaw. That happened just a few weeks before they were rescued on October 24th. Because they came and got him, took him out for the day. I think it was Trayvon. It may have been Javion. I can't even remember which one now. I need to look it up. He had an injury to his jaw and was requiring surgery because it wasn't taken care of. I mean, how messed up is that? You know, and the pain in his jaw. I mean, I just can't imagine what these children went through. I just can't imagine it. And it breaks my heart. I just want to go hug them. I want to take them stuffed animals and candy and cuddle them. I want to give them a mama's love for just a few minutes to show them that mamas truly love and care for their children and that they should have had that. And that breaks my heart. As a mother, that breaks my heart. So what's scary about the pandemic and lockdowns, people can abuse their kids and or spouse behind closed doors without anyone being the wiser. And this is what we talked about last week. Could this have been a pandemic issue more than a normal, dysfunctional, scary issue? Because, and that's been my fear all along, is because a lot of kids, their escape is school. Their only time they get to eat is going to school. School is an escape for many, many, many children, and men having to go to work or the women getting to go to work saved them from the abuse that they were getting, and being closed up with somebody who's already abusive. I mean, it gets stressful, you know. I mean, when you're not able to work and you can't go anywhere, and we have this fear of this disease and all of this stuff going on, that anxiety and that pressure, it's a pressure cooker, and it can be detrimental and explosive with people. And so it adds to the issues. And then you have people that will start drinking more or start using more drugs, and it just implodes. I am not sure. I think the abuse would have happened, but the lack of help could have been the lockdown. You're right, Nikki. I think the lockdown made it worse. I think there was already abuse going on. Well, we know there was, because according to the older sister, there was, and that's why she was kicked out. But I think it grew, and I think that because if they did not go to school from May of 2020, I'm trying to think of what the Houston school system, because they were locked down and they did not have school for quite a while. So for the first part of that year, there was no school, and then they kind of brought them back. And so, I mean, yeah. Is that how it was overlooked? Was that they were just thinking it was pandemic issues why they weren't in school? I think the school should have done more. Why were there just 2 truancy charges? There's 4 children that should have been in school. Why not 4 truancy charges? Yeah, Angela, that's what gets me, is them all over social media. They're going out to dinner. They're having fancy drinks. They've got this blingy, blingy jewelry, and they're going on in the apartment about their cooked meals and all of this, while those kids are sitting there with whatever junk she's had delivered for the month. And kids, they're hungry. That stuff got there, and they probably ate everybody of it the first night because they were hungry. They didn't know to salvage that for the month because they kind of thought their mama would be coming back. Everything about this case, something has to change. We can't keep having children slip through the cracks. I'm going to tell you what, I'm sick of child murder cases. I'm just sick of them. I'm sick of needing to talk about them because they shouldn't be happening. There are babies, and we're supposed to protect them. Kids are starving while she's using state funds intended for their car on themselves. Yep. The only thing we do know that the apartment was subsidized. So she did use the children to make sure she had that apartment to cover up the murder. I don't know how they were paying for the other apartment, but they got, I don't even remember, because I don't have minor children. So I don't remember what it was for relief benefits for COVID relief. Wasn't that quite a bit if you had children? Times 4? They were raking in the money for all of that. And it wasn't going on those babies. It wasn't paying for their food. Evidently they didn't have electricity for the last couple months. The system needs to reshuffle to accommodate for the changes since the virus. It does. The virus is unprecedented. We had something kind of close to this during, SARS, but it wasn't to this level. And of course, we didn't have social media. And they've got to figure something else, because if this is a new way of life, if we're going to have lockdowns that happen because of the virus takes control again, because that seems to be what they keep trying to tell us. Who knows? What do we do? People, that's why as people, as the neighbors, we need to speak up. We need to speak up. And I am the neighbor you don't want, because I'm the one that's going to say something. If I don't like it, somebody's going to hear about it. I do it for the kids in this neighborhood when they're doing shit they shouldn't be, and I do it for the dogs in the neighborhood when people don't keep them put up. I am the Karen of the neighborhood. Just kidding. I'm not that bad. But I will say something. And when I've seen children that look uncared for, I've said something. And we have to. I would rather be safe than sorry. Had I been that neighbor, granted, she was feeding the boys, she was getting them what she could, she was trying to help. Had I been that neighbor and didn't do more and this happened, I don't know. I don't know what I would be doing with myself right now, because They're innocent. Those babies are innocent, and they didn't deserve this treatment. They didn't deserve this mother. Did not deserve this mother. They deserved so much more than what they got. And it's frustrating. So frustrating. I have no words, y'all. I really don't. I just keep repeating the same stuff because what psychologically is going on with her? I mean, his family, Brian Coulter's family, has come out and said they have been estranged from him for a few years now, and this is not the son they knew. So it makes you wonder, did he get messed up with drugs and it fry his brain and change who he is? Or was he a little hidden psychopath? Or was he just an abuser who lost control? I mean, that's possible. Doesn't have to be a psychopath to do that. They're just abusers. I mean, some men are just freaking cruel. And of course, there's women that do it too. I'd have reported every day, twice a day until CPS got their butts in gear. Yeah, I'd have been knocking on the door. I'd have been asking the kid, do you want to come to my house? You want to come watch some TV? You know, come on, come eat. You know, but they did say he was afraid to take cooked food. He was terrified of cooked food. Unless they brought him a pizza from like Pizza Hut, he wouldn't eat cooked food because he was terrified of it being poisoned. And that's what he told authorities. He was afraid the food was poisoned. At 15. Can you imagine at 15? My grandson is 10, and I tell you what, if I even thought his mother was doing anything close to this to him, all hell would break loose. Yeah, Rose, the mental health issues that these kids will suffer, indefinite. I mean, can you imagine, even after they finally get to some kind of normalcy, little things are going to be triggers. Smells are going to be triggers. A noise, a movement, different things. It has been 31 years since my abusive relationship. And I will tell you, 31 years later, certain things will trigger me for no reason. And then I get pissed because I'm like, why in the hell am I letting this bother me? It's not that I let it bother me. It's just for whatever reason, whatever that was will trigger me. So these poor kids at this young age, this is a time in their life when everything is imprinted in those little brains. And all I hope is that Texas got the best of the best therapists in on this to take care of these children, because they are going to need special care. They are going to need a very special foster home, and the foster system is very damaged and it's very overloaded. And all I can pray is they are getting the best of the best. And matter of fact, I know a social worker in Houston, and the sad part of me is going, please let her get these children. I know that she's probably not taking, well, she's not a foster care mom. Sorry. She is a social worker. But she ended up adopting two of the children that she was over for a while. And so I have prayed for their foster home to be the perfect home, because they're going to need it. Normalcy will trigger at the realization of how bad it was. Yeah. There's going to be a time that I am sure they are all sleeping on the floor. I'm pretty sure they're afraid of a bed because they don't know how to sleep in a bed. It's been a while. And I bet they do not do anything without the other. I cannot see that. Jagger messed up my cords. TCA, could you imagine? Could you imagine those two grandsons going through this? Yours are the same age. I'm going to tell you what, anytime I have even suspected my grandson has been mistreated, there was an issue at the school. My daughter called them and said they called her, something about the bus. They missed getting him on the bus or something. And then he was kind of lost in the system and whatever else. And when they finally called my daughter, I'm sitting here calling her going, where's he at? He's not here. And I can't find him. So she called the school. They couldn't find him. Then they found him, and she was like, okay, I'm coming because you don't want my mom up there. And then when she got up there, she was like, you don't want to deal with my mother. I'm going to tell you what. I took on school transportation department for my kids when they were young. So they know. I got hit by. Oh, Gigi, I'm so sorry. I know that's got to be awful. No, it's got to be awful. Hi, Alexis. Welcome to the channel. If y'all are new, please subscribe. I would appreciate it and give me a thumbs up. But yeah, I mean, I took on a school system for a shitty ass bus driver, and I battled, and they knew. And then my daughter went to school, and she was, the monthly thing had happened, and teenage girls, she was wearing her pajama bottoms and a long t-shirt. She didn't have any skin showing. She was covered. They made her change out of her clothes and put sweatpants on that were too big and falling off of her, and called me and managed to kind of give me a hard time about it. And I said, well, what was wrong with her pajama bottoms? Were they showing her butt? Was skin showing? I'm trying to make sure that she wore the appropriate ones and not the skimpy ones. And they said, oh no, she was completely covered. And I said, were they falling down? And he said, no. And I said, then what was did it have something vulgar on them? I mean, I don't think she had anything like that. And they're like, oh no, I think they were pink with stars on them, I think is what those were. And I said, so why in the hell is she in trouble for wearing those and you put her in clothes that don't fit? And he said, well, that's not appropriate clothing. I said, according to the student handbook for the clothing, can't be up too high, and you can't have a midriff show, and you can't be showing here, and you can't have tattoos, and you can't have this. Doesn't say anything about pajama pants. It's like wearing sweatpants. Not much of a difference. And needless to say, I went to the school board. And it's a small town. My husband grew up with these people. Most of them he graduated with. and they know me. They know me quite well. They know me from all the sporting things. I've been on all the boards for the youth thing growing up. They know. And by the next year, they changed the school dress code to include pajama pants are not allowed, because I was right. They couldn't do that. And they put her in clothes that didn't fit. So what happened? So yeah, I'm not afraid to take on a system. Not afraid to take it on. And no, these children didn't have that. And that's sad. These babies didn't have that. We've become so complacent with taking up for the little guy because we might offend somebody, that children are paying the price. And that's just not okay. It's just not freaking okay. Look, y'all, I have done so good. I have not dropped the F-bomb tonight. Yay for me. I have not dropped the F-bomb yet. Anyways. And so I'm going to keep everybody, anytime there's new stuff on this one, it'll be slow moving right now until they figure out what they're going to do court-wise. Unless they both come in and plead guilty and just get it over with. Yes, Gigi, I agree with Angela. You are a strong woman, and you have come a long way. And you have done amazing. You have done amazing. Your weight loss journey is amazing. Your physical therapy part and getting your life back is amazing. And you, my dear, are a doll. Right, Nikki. Everybody wants the other person to report. Well, you do your part. Stay in your lane, do your part, and worry about that person doing their part. If everybody would have done something, we wouldn't be here a year later with these children. I mean, maybe in September, if the school would have made CPS step in, maybe they could have prevented this murder. Maybe they would have stepped in and said, oh, there is something seriously going on here. We need to step in. But they didn't do that. The school should have called CPS. Could have prevented this whole thing. No proof on that. Nikki, I do too. I hope that they do that so they don't put the children through trial, because the children are going to be witnesses. And they have said that these kids are going to be amazing witnesses because they are talking. And that is a good thing. A lot of times in these cases, these children clam up and don't talk. They don't know how to communicate. They become very withdrawn. And you're talking about at least one of them has autism. So I don't know what part of the spectrum they're on, But if it's severe, are they able to communicate and get that out? But evidently they are, because that's what the sheriff said the other day, that these children will be amazing witnesses for the prosecution because they are very good at telling the story. Uh-oh. Alexis, are you feeling bad? Did I miss it? I get to talking, guys, and I forget to watch the chat. I had gumbo because it's cold, which we were laughing about that in the beginning because it's, well, let's see. Where are we at right now? Oh, it's 55. So that's cold. That's cold, right? I mean, for me, wait, where? Oh, Alexis. So sorry, honey. Zinc. Hold on. Ginger and turmeric. They will help with a lot of that inflammation, and they're natural. Hope you feel better. Make sure you get plenty of rest, plenty of fluids. Mine all want to go outside, but it's raining, and one of them was like, it's wet, not going. So another one that a wrongful, well, I feel like it's a wrongful conviction case. Not everybody shares that with me, but it's another one that I have been on since November of 2019, and that's the Rodney Reed case. And, you know, they had gone, and I'll talk about it. I don't know if anybody, y'all are familiar with it or not, but he's convicted of killing Stacey Stites in 1996. Black man, she was white, here in Texas, Bastrop, Texas, which is a very, very, at that time, racial community. They still struggle. I will be honest. His jury was all white, middle to older, so not a jury of his peers. A lot of evidence wasn't brought in. A lot of people weren't brought in, and people were scared to talk. The lawyers were even scared to stay local. And so they brought all the evidence that they do have, which is amazing evidence. The Innocence Project is on his case, and some other ones are on his case. And I think Kim Kardashian's even speaking out for him. The judge came back Monday and denied their request for a new trial. Said that the evidence is not enough. So now it goes to the state of Texas appeals courts. And very seldom ever do they overturn what a judge says. So just have to wait and see. I mean, there's still a chance. They're not giving up. But kind of like with Kyle Rittenhouse, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And I think Rodney needs a new trial. I think the wrong person is prison. I think Jimmy Fennell needs his ass in prison. Again, he's already been there once for kidnapping a suspect and raping her. Wasn't even a suspect. What would you call it? I can't even think of the word. I'm having brain farts big time. This girl that he had put in his car, I don't even think he arrested her. I think it was like a domestic dispute or something. And he raped her and threatened her if she called. And when she did call ambulance, he showed up first. And so, but he did. He served, I want to say 7 years, 10 years, something like that. There are some that believe he is responsible for another woman who come up missing in the same area. So anyways, the Rodney Reed case is not doing good either. But I will be on Charlotte's channel tomorrow. Y'all come see us at 4 o'clock Central. Angela dropped the link earlier, and we're going to talk about Kendrick tomorrow. And then next week, I don't know. I got to decide. Do we want to talk Vallow, or do we want to talk the Aubrey case? Vallow always interests me. Fascinated with the Vallow case. But the Aubrey case is interesting as well. Vallow's got some weird movement going on. Some new stuff just come out. I think we'll talk Vallow. We're gonna talk about the Vallow Daybell case next Wednesday. That's what we'll do. Because that's what I was gonna do last week when this case hit me. And I'm like, because this case hit, Angela had sent it to me and I hadn't had a chance to look at it yet. And was kind of going through stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, oh shit, I need to do this case. Are you kidding me? And the national news isn't picking it up yet. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? I'm sick of it. I mean, I want all of these cases talked about. Everybody, Gabby Petito's case needed to be talked about, and we needed answers, and we still don't have them. And even her family says it shouldn't be just Gabby. There's others missing. There's others happening. And then here you have these 4 beautiful children. I'm going to tell you what, that Kendrick baby, he is the cutest little man. All of those children are adorable, but that was the cutest baby. I call him a baby. He was 8, still a baby. And they're falling through the cracks, and it's not okay. We, as the people, have got to make a difference. You see something, say something. Quit sitting back on your ass and minding your own business. Say something. Say something. So, thank you guys for joining me tonight. And wasn't a lot to get. There were just some new things come up on this I didn't talk about last week, and some misinformation I had last week that everybody had that I wanted to clarify. And that happens with these cases as they start happening, as we're sharing information and finding it. And I doubled down and looked hard on, they reported the oldest daughter is still missing. Absolutely, TCA. Why don't you come on sometime? We'll plan sometime next week if you want. Come on and talk that case with me. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Nikki. This is, I like to talk about cases nobody's talking about. My Hopper Road case, that is my first case I did solo when I left the by proxy team. And that family has become my family. I love them dearly. And I will talk about it until I'm blue in the face and until we have an answer. And then I'm still going to talk about it. And I've already told them when we get to go to court, my ass going to find a way to be there. I don't know how I'm going to do it with all these animals, but I'm going to be there because I love that family and they need answers. And but I love cases that nobody's talking about. I love them. The other cases fascinate me, like Vallow. I like the ones like the Vallow that get into the religious sect part of things and you get the convoluted thinking. I love discussing those because they're very intriguing. But these cases that nobody talks about to me are important because nobody's talking about them. Angelo, can you drop TCA's channel, please, ma'am? You're still good at being a mod. I appreciate you. You and Gigi both. Froggy's not here. She had a daughter to take to the doctor. She's in California, so she's way behind us. I think YouTube is unsubscribing people. There must be a bot in their system because I've been hearing different channels say that people are being unsubscribed. Yeah, Nikki, the Vallow case is so freaking bizarre. And the stuff that just came out about her and her brother is even more of a what the fuck. Oh, look, I dropped the F-bomb. I told y'all it would happen. I tried. I'll have to be good on Charlotte's channel. I don't know if she cusses. Nikki, does she cuss on her channel? Am I going to get in trouble? Because girl's got a potty mouth. I have been good tonight. It'll be early in the day. Maybe I'll be good. But 4 o'clock tomorrow on Charlotte's channel. Y'all make sure to come on over and support her. And I love how Froggy said it. Froggy told me she was like, the Southern, one sweet and one spicy. I'm like, wait, which is sweet and which is spicy? And then I laughed and I said, never mind. We know I'm the spicy one. I'm not even going to deny it. I'll own my spiciness. Thank you, Angela. Oh, yes, and we've got to give a shout out to DTOS because they rock. I almost forgot about them being up there a while ago. I don't know anybody else. I don't think there were any other channels up there. I will make sure I ask her first. That way I know to tone it down. I try to behave myself. But if we get to talking about Katie Joy at all, I can promise you it's not going to be nice coming out of my mouth. Thank you, DTOS. We love you. You are the bomb.com. Did the email ever get changed? Side joke for those that don't know. They both are very great mods, TCA. Yes, they are. I adore my girls. They are my buds. They are the best. They are the best. Well, I can't even say at times, TCA. I don't know. I did good tonight. I only dropped it once. Anyways, guys, I am going Charlotte on the web. Angela dropped it earlier in the chat. She covers a lot of the Katie Joy stuff, and she's doing some true crime. And so I'm going to go on and collab with her tomorrow about Kendrick's case. I managed to get a notification. Well, I didn't even get a notification. I opened YouTube and seen that she had a live, and I was like, "Oh, look, she's live. I'll go on." And she was talking about Katie Joy and bringing up some of the sister wife stuff, which ticks me off that Katie Joy likes to talk about him because she ain't got. I think Angela may be getting it, or let me see. I can go get it. Angela might beat me to it. I hate that we can't drop it from StreamYard. There it is. Angela beat me to it. Drives me crazy that we can't drop it from StreamYard. But, I mean, I guess if I popped over to YouTube, but I don't know if I can see everything is clear. I haven't ever done that. I may do that one time just to see. Oh, you don't know Katie Joy, TCA. She is a YouTuber that does a lot of the reality stuff. She talks about the Duggars a lot, the sister wives, different ones. And when we were doing the Gypsy Rose case, we had an interview with her. For one, we had somebody on our team that knew her and had knowledge of her having experience. I'm going to do quotations because it was bullshit with moms with Munchausen by proxy. And so we wanted to talk to her about some of that. And I went on when I got my ex-partner, she was good about this. Hey, Brady, we have an interview today at 3:00. With who? With so-and-so. Who was that? Well, I don't remember what it's about. Can you go look at their channel? It's exactly how the conversation went. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This was at 9 a.m. So I go to the channel, I look it up, and I'm like, oh, was it about because she had some facts wrong on Gypsy's case? Oh, that's what it was. Oh, okay. So we go into doing this interview. I'm blind. I have no idea what we're going to talk to this woman about because I didn't schedule the interview. I had literally been there about a month. It had been about 2 months. She's very calm compared to me, guys. And so in this interview, it went sideways. It was odd. And at one point, she gets up to go say something to the dogs, and I'm looking we're on Zoom. Back then we did Zoom. And I look at my partner and I went, nix it. We got to get out of this. I need out. Needless to say, we asked her on some of the stuff that we talked about was off the record, and that because at the time we were splitting from the family, and it's a whole long story. And she went to the family and told them we said this and this and this and this and this, and that we did this and this and this and this. All of it was lies. All of it was bad. And then she went live about it. And then TCA, she joined up with NC. And that was a whole nother story. So yeah. So needless to say, we released the whole interview, which was, we recorded it to protect ourselves and to go back for researching. And so we released the whole interview just to prove her wrong. And of course, we've been kind of ridiculed for the interview. And then I had gone in some of the chats. I'm like, okay, guys, so you have to know, we didn't really record that as part of an interview. This was a gab session to figure some stuff out. And it was only released because she lied. Because we didn't want to release that interview. We wasn't what it was for. So yeah, she's NC for reality TV. Let's put it that way. Or worse. No, she's sane. She's sane. I won't talk about her mothering. I do need to do the Gypsy case. I do. It's hard for me to do that one. And I'm going to take a lot of hell for it. So I have to be prepared. And I have to be... fuck it. I ain't worried about my NDA. Come at me. Because that's my big thing is I'm like, what part of my NDA can I use and not use? But they released everything. So I can use anything I want to use. Is my experience. And then again, I have my conversations with Gypsy on my own. But so I do need to talk it, but it's not going to be a one live. That'll be a pretty good little series. I wonder if maybe I should record it and do a premiere kind of thing over a few days' time. Maybe that. And then a Q&A session after the live, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to brainstorm on how to do that. Because there is a lot. There's not just they meet, the murder, the after fact. There is the life before and how they got to the point of meeting and how they met and how they did the murder and how the murder happened and then after the murder and the arrest and then the trial and then the nows and then you've got the social media BS that's happened. And so there's probably 6 hours or more on lives. And then if people pop in for discussions, then when I put that name in that tagline, people will be here. Oh, when they teamed up together, I cried. I will tell you right now. Me and Fancy were on the phone with what the fucks and cried because it was a nightmare. They came hard. And it was, it pushed several of us to the brink and was one of the reasons why we got off Facebook. Even though I hated it. I hated getting off. I didn't want to go to YouTube. We weren't ready for YouTube, I didn't think. I didn't want to do YouTube. I liked my people on Facebook that we had. So, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Horrible. So, anyways, ladies, and gentlemen, I don't know who all is left on here. Thank y'all for joining. I had a good time tonight. Let's keep the children in your prayers. Kendrick, Jordan, Trayvon, Javion. I do not know what the 13-year-old daughter's name. And is it Jasmine is the oldest? Jasmine's 17. They have never announced the 13-year-old daughters. We don't need it. I didn't ever want to release these children's name. But it's all out in the media. So protecting them as much as we can. They need every bit of support and love we can all give them. If I get word of a foundation that is for them to help them with everything, I will share that information. I will not share just anything. It'll have to make sure that it's legit. I know the family has come out and said, if you see GoFundMe's and that on Facebook, it's not them. Don't give. So it'll be something through the state. It won't be anything else. But anyways, thank you again for joining me, and your support means the world to me, and I appreciate it. Have a good night. Stay safe. Happy hump day. And make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button, guys, if you haven't. Alrighty. Good night. See y'all next week. Oh, tomorrow at 4 o'clock.